Hello, my name is Keith Elford and I am the priest in charge at St John the Baptist, West Byfleet, and this is Thought and Prayer for the day for Friday the 17th of September. Today in the Church's calendar we remember one of the more remarkable saints of the Church. That is Saint Hildegard of Bingen, who was a medieval religious. That is, she belonged to a religious order. In fact, she was the prioress, the leader of a religious order in 2 or 3 different places. She had the most remarkable combination of characteristics and achievements. So from the age of 3 onwards, she had visions, or at least she claimed to have visions, which involved her being transported up to some high place, metaphorically I think, and able to see the world and perceive it through all her 5 senses, but in the presence of God. She was a scientist. She wrote scientific works. She was a musician. She wrote music which is still known, still played, and it's her music is better represented today than much other music from that period, is what I'm trying to say. And she was a theologian and wrote 3 at least very significant works of theology. Well, a remarkable woman clearly, and we could regard her as remarkable in different ways. One way that occurs to me is the sheer combination of things she knew about, was interested in and contributed to. It's very difficult today to have any sort of real expertise in more than one field, because the fields are so dense, so much more is known, and specialization is required to make a contribution. But at that period it was possible still to have much more of an overview and to take a view of an interest in different areas of life. I think it's a real shame that's so much more difficult, and those people who can do that remain very valuable. So I think that makes her remarkable. It's partly a feature of the period. But the other big thing, of course, is that she was a woman who had achieved all these things in a period not noted for giving women those kinds of opportunities. And I think it's perhaps interesting that it was within the context of the Christian faith and the Church that she was able to do those things. Well, what are we to make of her and her influence today? Well, her example is still noted, her work is still read. I think I want to see her as an example of how one can bring a really holistic view to life. That is, a view which combines visions, science, and theology. How about that for a combination? Who does that today? Let's try and hold that together in our lives. A sense of vision, a sense of God and of theology, and a sense of science. Could be the magic combination. Well, I have a prayer of Saint Hildegard, which I am going to use. Let us pray. O eternal God, now let it please you to burn in that love, so that we become those limbs which you have made in that same love when you gave birth to your Son, in the first dawn, before all creatures, and look on this need which falls upon us. Take it from us for the sake of your Son, and lead us into the bliss of salvation. Amen. I think we can pick up some of Hildegard's intensity. Well, there's an inspiration, perhaps for this week, for today at least. Thank you very much. One of my colleagues will be back with you next week. Goodbye.